So, listen to this. For over 70 years, one team struck fear into the football world unlike any other. They weren't always the flashiest, they didn't always have the most gifted players, but when the World Cup arrived, they became something else entirely. Germany were known as the tournament machine. From the miracle of Bern in 1954 to lifting the World Cup in Brazil in 2014, they built a reputation on ruthless efficiency, ice-cold mentality, and an almost supernatural ability to win when the pressure was at its highest. They never failed to qualify for a World Cup, almost never collapsed when it mattered, and somehow always found a way back. Then, almost overnight, the machine stopped working. Since lifting the trophy in Rio, Germany have suffered a string of humiliating tournament exits, turning one of football's greatest dynasties into one of its biggest mysteries. So what actually happened to German football? Ironically, the beginning of Germany's downfall may have started with their greatest triumph. The 2014 World Cup wasn't just a victory. It was the reward for more than a decade of rebuilding after their disappointing UEFA Euro 2000 campaign. Their academy revolution produced stars like Toni Kroos, Mesut Özil, Thomas Müller and Manuel Neuer, while Joachim Löw blended technical football with the relentless mentality Germany had always been known for. But after conquering the world, something changed. Possession gradually became more than a tactic, it became an identity. Instead of using the ball as a weapon, Germany increasingly seemed focused on controlling matches without delivering the decisive blow. They still dominated possession, completed hundreds of passes, and often outshot opponents. Yet those numbers began to hide a worrying truth. Much of that control produced very little danger. At the same time, another problem quietly emerged. Germany kept producing elegant midfielders and technically gifted attackers, but the conveyor belt that once produced dominant center forwards and commanding defensive leaders slowed dramatically. After the retirement of Miroslav Klose, there was no obvious successor to lead the line. Stopgap solutions came and went, but none truly replaced the clinical presence Germany had relied upon for decades. Behind them, the legendary backbone of Philipp Lahm, Mats Hummels, Jerome Boateng and Bastian Schweinsteiger disappeared without equally influential successors. Talent was still there, but leadership, the quality that had defined Germany for generations, became increasingly difficult to find. The tactical consequences soon became obvious. Opponents no longer tried to match Germany pass for pass. Instead, they willingly surrendered possession, defended in compact blocks, and waited for the perfect moment to counterattack. South Korea exposed those weaknesses in 2018. Japan repeated the formula in 2022. Teams stopped fearing Germany's possession because they realized it often came without penetration. The very qualities that once terrified opponents, ruthlessness, adaptability, and mental resilience, appeared to be fading. Expected them to respond. That aura slowly disappeared. Instead of opponents fearing Germany, Germany began fearing failure. Every disappointing result brought harsher criticism, greater pressure, and louder questions about whether the country's football identity had been lost. Some analysts argue that the famous white shirt, once a symbol of confidence, gradually became a burden carried by players expected to recreate the achievements of past generations. The collapse reached another painful chapter at World Cup 2026. Germany arrived with optimism but once again left far earlier than expected. Their elimination fueled fierce debate about everything from tactical decisions to squad balance and long-term player development. Some reports even suggested there were internal tensions within the camp and questioned communication between the coaching staff and players, although many of those claims remain unverified and should be treated with caution. Whether true or not, they reflected a wider feeling surrounding German football, that something deeper than tactics was broken. The frightening part is that this decline cannot be blamed on a single coach. One, balance in player development, constant managerial changes, mounting psychological pressure, and the rest of the football world rapidly catching up. Yet there is still hope. Young stars like Jamal Musiala and Florian Wirtz represent another generation capable of restoring Germany's identity. But talent alone won't rebuild the tournament machine. Germany must rediscover the qualities that made them legendary in the first place. Resilience, adaptability, leadership, and the ruthless instinct to win when everything is on the line. Because until they do, one of football's greatest powers will remain a giant searching for the version of itself that once ruled the world. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.